Hello, my name is Judy Miller, and I'm going to be your host for this short video. We're going to be going over the Campaign Builder basics, and I'm going to be showing you how to build out a simple campaign. Thanks for joining me. By the end of this short video, you're going to be able to create a lead capture campaign. You're also going to learn how to create a web form. You may know it as a contact us form or a sign up for newsletter form. We call it a web form. I'm going to show you how to create a sequence. You're going to understand the ingredients for a simple campaign, and I'm also going to show you how to get campaigns for free. And yes, I did. I said free, and free is always good. So buckle your seatbelts, and let's begin learning about the Infusionsoft awesome, powerful, amazing campaign builder. The first thing I want to introduce you to is our strategy guide. When you go into the campaign builder for the first time, you'll see this banner across the top of your screen, and it says grow your business by working smarter, not harder. Now you can always go and create a campaign from scratch by hitting the create a campaign. But when you hit the browse campaign templates, it will redirect you to this screen, which is absolutely amazing. We have tested out and we've built some campaigns for you that fit into these little buckets, like an online store or a local service provider, or you may be a coach and consultant. When you click on one of those icons, it will bring you into different campaigns that are already created for you, tested out, that you can install right into your Infusionsoft application for free. The really cool thing about it is the content's already there and most things are already created for you, and all you need to do is go in and edit them and set them ready. By the end of this video, you'll know how to do all that, but this strategy guide was created for you so you can easily get your campaigns up and running and your business automated in no time at all. And that's the Infusionsoft strategy guide that we created for you to make the software easier. So let's get started and get into the Infusionsoft application so I can show you how to create a campaign. I'm going to create one from scratch, but once we do go over this and you get into the strategy guide, each of those little pieces of those campaigns are going to make so much more sense. So let's get started. So before I get into the Infusionsoft application, I just want to explain the two major ingredients that you need for a campaign. Each campaign inside of Infusionsoft has two major ingredients. The first ingredient is a goal, and a goal is what you want the contact to do. You can see we have different goals, like a web form is submitted, a landing page is submitted, or a tag is applied. Today we're going to focus on the web form is submitted. But again, the goal is the first ingredient, and that's what you want the contact to do or what you want them to achieve. The second ingredient is a sequence, and when a goal is achieved, it pushes the contact into a sequence, and our sequence is represented by a rectangle with a clock in the middle. That's ingredient number 2. In the sequence is where all the magic of automation happens inside of Infusionsoft. So I like to call the sequence the magic of Infusionsoft. There's lots of things that can happen in that rectangle. You can send an email, for instance, add a delay timer of, say, maybe 2 days, send off another email 2 days later, another delay timer that may be for a week, or create a task for you to either give that person a call, mail them a gift, or a thank you card. You get to decide what magic that you want to happen in that sequence. So you see, it's pretty simple to start out with. A campaign consists of two ingredients, a goal and a sequence. The goal is what we want the contact to do, and then Infusionsoft will automatically push them into that sequence. And if you can remember these two ingredients, you can build a campaign. The more complex campaign is just a goal to a sequence that pushes to another goal that pushes to another sequence. So you can see that learning how to create a simple campaign can help you create more complex campaigns just by understanding those two ingredients. So as I said before, let's not delay any longer and let's get into the Infusionsoft application and build out that campaign. So here I am inside my Infusionsoft application and landed right on the dashboard. Now to get into the campaign builder, I'm simply going to hover over the Infusionsoft logo, come to the marketing section, down to campaign builder and click that one time. When you first open up Infusionsoft for the first time, that big strategy guide banner will appear. You'll also see that I have a list of different campaigns inside my Infusionsoft application. You may not have any campaigns in your Infusionsoft application, but again, you can always come to this strategy guide button and install one very simply. We're going to create our own so I can show you the ingredients and how easy it is to build a campaign, and so you'll understand those ingredients better. I'm going to click on Create My Own Campaign, and when I do, a box will appear to ask me to name my campaign. You can always change the name of the campaign, but my rule of thumb is name the campaign what it is. That way when you're searching for it, it'll be really easy to find. So I'm going to name my campaign right now. So I named my campaign Sign Up for My Newsletter. I can also select a category so I can search for that campaign very easily. I'm just going to hit save, and now my campaign name is saved, and you can see it right on the top screen in the black toolbar, sign up for newsletter. Now you're never locked into a campaign name. If you want to change that campaign name, you can just come on the black toolbar, come to Actions, click on Rename, and you can always change the name of that campaign. Once we name the campaign, we land in this blank campaign canvas. And it's a little daunting and a little scary if you don't know where to start. But you know the first ingredient, and the first ingredient is a goal. And the goal we're going to be working on today is a web form. So I'm going to come over into my campaign tools on the left-hand side, left click on the web form, and I'm just going to drag it onto my campaign canvas. That's the goal I'm going to start out with. That's the first ingredient of our campaign. The little blue box underneath highlights web form submission. That gives you the opportunity to change the name of that web form so you don't have 50 web forms with the same name, because pretty soon you are going to have lots of web forms. So when it's highlighted in blue, it gives you the opportunity to change the name, and my rule of thumb is always name the form what it is, and this is newsletter sign up, so that's what I'm going to name it. So I went ahead and named my form Newsletter Sign Up, and now the goal is in my campaign. I like to build out my foundation first, so I like to have my goal in sequence there before I start going into each one and designing them. So I'm going to come to Sequences, left click my sequence, drag it to the right of my goal, and now I have my goal and my sequence. My sequence is highlighted in blue underneath, which gives me the opportunity to change it from untitled sequence to the name of my sequence. Rule of thumb, name it what it is. So I just named my sequence Welcome and More. I can always come change the name by double clicking on the verbiage, and when it's highlighted in blue, you can go in and change the name. Now I have my goal, I have my second ingredient, which is my sequence, and now I want to attach them together. To attach any icons together inside of the campaign builder, you're going to go to the icon to the left and hover over it. When you hover over the icon to the left, a green arrow will appear. Just grab that arrow, left click and hold on to it, and move it all the way into the icon to the right. Now my goal and sequence are connected, and I can go in and design my web form and create my sequence. If you'll also notice, these icons are gray in color, and gray means they're still in default mode, and we haven't done anything different than what Infusionsoft's default is. So we have a newsletter sign up web form, and we have a sequence called Welcome and More. And now we're going to go in and we're going to create that web form and design it. To design the web form, I'm simply going to put my cursor in the middle of the round circle and double click. Once I do, because we chose web form as our goal, Infusionsoft will know to open up the web form builder. When the web form builder opens up, it opens up in default mode. Now default mode means that we haven't done anything to change this web form yet. You can use these snippets under the Snippets tab to add to your form. I'd like to put a title on my form. So under my Snippets tab, I'm going to grab Title, place it on the very top of my form. It's going to automatically show up in Latin, but that just gives you some content that you can edit. So I'm going to change this by highlighting it and putting in the title of my web form. I named my form Newsletter Sign Up because rule of thumb is to name it what it is. What do we want the new contacts to do? We want them to sign up for the newsletter. So this web form is called Newsletter Sign Up. I can also grab a snippet called Spacer and put that spacer right underneath my title and give myself a little bit of space between the title and the first field. Now the fields that are included in the default web form are first name and email address. If you decide that you do need the contact's last name also, since first name is already there, you just need to double click that first name tab. This box will automatically appear. Click on the last name checkbox, hit save, and now first name and last name are in my fields for my web form. If you'd like to add a logo or content or a dividing line or an image, you can do that by using these snippets. If you'd like to add any other fields to be filled out, just click on the Field Snippet tab and you can take any of these fields and add them onto your form. If you want to find more out about the fields and even custom fields that are specific to your industry, you can look at our Help Center at help.infusionsoft.com and look up web form fields and custom fields, and you can read more about that. Now we're going to change the Submit button. When I double click on the Submit button, the button builder will open up. And we always encourage you to change the label button from Submit to maybe an action item that you want them to take. I'm just going to put in here Sign Up Now with an exclamation point. I can change the alignment of the button by clicking on Alignment. And if I toggle the Advanced Styling button to On, I can even change the background color of that button. I don't need to know the hex code or the numbers and letters that make that color. I can just come into this little palette and change the color just by clicking inside the palette. You can also change the font family. You can make the border wider or thinner just by toggling the border width. You can make the corners more round and less round, and you can even toggle the custom size on and change the size of the button. Once I hit save, you'll see that my button changed. It says sign up now. I have my title newsletter sign up, first name, last name, and email. Once your web form is complete, you are going to want to come over to the right-hand corner and click on the draft button. Now, setting the draft button to ready does not do anything except let Infusionsoft know that you changed the web form from the default to something different, and it will also change the visual color of that form on your campaign canvas so that you know that you worked on it. It's not going to automatically send out that form. In fact, the form will not even work until you publish the campaign. So once you set it to ready, the next thing you're going to do is click on the next tab, which is called the Thank You page. And the thank you page gives you the opportunity to let that contact know that their web form was filled out successfully. When you click on the thank you page, it defaults to this banner that says a great company. You can add your own banner simply by double clicking. When you double click, this box will appear. You can either add a new image by clicking on the add new image button, or you can click on the pick an image and choose an image that you've already added to your Infusionsoft application. Once I hit insert update, you'll see that my banner or my logo changed. And now I can come down and I can change the content. This thank you page automatically defaults to thanks for filling out our form, and I'll add in their first name. You can change this just by highlighting it and typing over the words that are already there. Under the we will contact you shortly, you can add whatever you'd like to add in that paragraph, letting that contact know what to expect. The click here to continue browsing, this is asking you a question. Where would you like to send them after they fill out this form? Would you like them to go back to your website? Would you like them to go to your products page? Would you like them to go to your blog page, etc.? Highlight, you can change what that has to say. Right now it says click here to continue browsing. Click on the link button, and once you click on the link button, you just add your web address right here in the web address button, and whatever you put in that link option, if the contact clicks on click here to continue browsing, they'll be redirected to that page. If you already have a thank you page that your web developer that you created on your website, you can also click on this little arrow going down, put in a web address, and you can add your own URL web address here. And as soon as that form is filled out, it will redirect them to whatever page you put here. I'm just going to use our regular Infusionsoft thank you page. The next tab is the settings tab. And the most important part of the settings tab is the spam bot detection. Your web form is automatically defaulted to using the Google reCAPTCHA that asks if the person is a robot or not if they fill out the form more than once. If you don't want to use the Google reCAPTCHA, just click on that little checkbox and it will not use it. And also, if you want to be notified by email, every time someone fills out that form, simply put your email address right here and you will be notified via email that someone filled out that form, and all the information that you asked for on that form will come to you via email. The subject line is going to say this: a web form was filled out, and you get to change that email subject line. So I'm going to change mine to a web form was filled out to get my newsletter. That's what my email will say. It will notify me that somebody filled out the form and give me all the information that I asked for on that form. If you're getting notified too many times, which would be a great problem to have, and you don't want to be notified by email, simply delete your email address and you will not be notified anymore. The last tab is the code tab. And just to let you know, you don't grab the code until your campaign is published. So even if we grab this code and put it on our website right now, it would not work. It would just bring up the default form that we worked on. Infusionsoft wants you to publish it, to dot your I's, to cross your T's before it will let you even use the code. So you don't grab the code until you actually publish your campaign. If you're going to do it yourself, you're going to use the do-it-yourself snippet. You can either use our JavaScript or HTML code. You'll simply click on the code you want to use, highlight it. Once you copy the code, you'll go to your website, go to your admin page, and add that code to whatever page you want that web form to appear. If you have someone doing the work for you, just click on Have Your Webmaster Do It, put their email address right here, and then in the message let them know that they're getting this information that will give them the code to put the form on your website. They don't need to log into Infusionsoft. They don't need to be a user inside of your Infusionsoft. All the information will be sent right here when you put their email address in and hit Send Email. Just say you don't have a website yet and you just want to use our form to start collecting leads, maybe on Facebook, maybe on YouTube. If you click on Use the Hosted version, you have two different versions here. You have a web form URL or you have a pretty URL. And the only difference is that if you hit edit, you can change to whatever you want it to say. I'm going to put get my newsletter now. So I added the ending get my newsletter now to the URL, hit save, and now once I publish Infusionsoft, I can use this URL right here to put in an email, to put on a postcard, to put on a Facebook ad, etc. I'm going to take my cursor now and move it all the way to the left on the black toolbar and click sign up for my newsletter, and it will bring me back out to my campaign canvas. And now you'll see that the web form is a light green in color, meaning it's out of default mode and ready. It's not published yet, it's just out of default mode and ready. Now that my web form is done, we're going to go to the next step, which is setting up the sequence or the magic that happens inside of Infusionsoft. Now let's work on the sequence. When I double-click the web form builder opened up. Now I'm going to double-click on the middle of this sequence, and when I double-click, the sequence builder will open up. Now the sequences always begin with a start, and the start is light green in color, meaning that it's ready. The start button means, hey, a goal was achieved, what do you want to happen next? You may want to send an email. You may want to create a task to give you notification that you need to call someone. You may want to apply a tag so you know what list this group belongs to. They filled out a form on my website. They want to become a newsletter subscriber, so I want them to be in my newsletter list, and I want to tag them. So I'm going to do that right now by coming down to Process on the bottom of the toolbar to the left, grabbing a tag, and dragging it onto my sequence. The arrow will automatically appear, but if for some reason it doesn't, just click on the icon to the left, grab the arrow, and move it into the icon to the right. Now you can see that the tag is light gray in color, which means that it's not ready. Now when I double click that tag, I can either start configuring a tag or I can choose a tag that's already created. I can check by starting to type newsletter. You can say I already have a newsletter list created. I want to apply the tag. Once I hit save, that tag turns light green in color, meaning that it's ready. Now the next thing I want to do automatically is I want to send an email. I want to send a welcome email because they just signed up for my newsletter and I want to welcome them to my list. To do that, I come over to Communications, grab an email. The arrow's already created. A blue box appears, which means that it gives me the opportunity to change the name, so I'm just going to call this email Welcome. The email is gray in color, which means it's not ready, so I'm going to double click, and when I double click, it will bring me into my email builder. Now by now you should have watched the video on how to send a broadcast. That gives you the same information on how to create an email. If you've already created a template, just click on Templates and choose the template that you've already created that you want to use for this welcome email. This is the email that I want to use, the one that says welcome, so I'm just going to hit Use Template, and Infusionsoft will grab that email and drop it right into the campaign builder. I have the option to come in and edit this. I think it's great just the way it looks, so I'm going to click on the Draft button, set it to Ready, and then I'm going to take my cursor and move all the way to the left and go back into my Welcome and More sequence. Now you can see that my email is light green in color, which means that it's ready. Now I get to ask myself, what do I want to happen next? I just welcomed them to my newsletter list, gave them a little bit of information about me, and now I may want to wait a couple days and send them another email. I'm going to come up to Timers, grab the delay timer. The arrow will automatically appear, but if for some reason it doesn't, click on the icon to the left, left click, and move that arrow right into the clock. The clock is light gray in color, meaning it's not set up yet, so I'm going to double click it and the timer builder will open, and I get to decide how many days I want to wait until I send the next email. 3 days is awesome. I'm going to hit save. Once my delay timer is set up, I can either come over to Communications and grab another email, or if I already have my template created and I already have my email exactly the way I want it, I can right click the email, make a complete duplicate of it, move it over, connect the icons, change the name of the email, double click, and of course you will need to come edit the email because it's the exact same one that we sent first, so I may want to change the banner or I may just want to change the content. Once I'm done with this email, I set it to ready, move back to my sequence. So in this sequence, the contact is getting a tag added to their contact record, they're getting a welcome email, 3 days later, they're getting a more great stuff info. So there's other things you can do in this sequence other than just following up with emails. You can create a task. You can create an appointment. You can assign an owner. Now this sequence has pretty much done what I want it to do. When a contact fills out that form, they're going to get a tag. They're going to get an email that welcomes them to my list. Infusionsoft's going to wait 3 days, and it's going to send another email with more great information. Now I can wait 3 more days and send them another email, maybe introducing my product, but this contact list right here have the tag newsletter list. This group of people filled out a form to sign up for my newsletter list. I can find those people every month by searching for any contact that has the tag newsletter list. And then I'll send off my newsletter to that group of people, which may be inviting them to a webinar, or introducing my product, or pushing them further on down the funnel. Since this sequence is complete, I wanted them to sign up for my newsletter list, and I sent them 2 emails of welcome. I need to come over to the right-hand corner and set that draft button to ready. Now when I take my cursor and move all the way to the left and click on Sign Up for Newsletter, it will bring me back out to my campaign canvas, which is a goal that is light green and a sequence that is light green, and it is ready to be published. I may have put this web form on my website. If anyone clicks on that form and actually signs up for my newsletter list, they're going to be pushed into this sequence where they'll get a tag and they'll get 2 emails. Now that my web form is ready and my sequence is ready, it's time to publish my campaign. So I'm going to come to the top right-hand corner and click on that Publish button. And what Infusionsoft will do is it will check that campaign. And once it checks that campaign, you'll get a little campaign checklist. The only thing that has an exclamation point is emails are not personalized, and that means that I didn't use their first name in the subject line, and that's okay. The most important part of this campaign checklist is the last checkbox that says Campaign passes functional inspection. And that means that everything that you have created in that campaign is going to work as intended. So I'm going to hit Publish, and once I do, my campaign is ready to use. When you publish a campaign, it will automatically bring you into reporting mode. You can learn more about reporting mode by going to our Help Center at help.infusionsoft.com and type in the white box Campaign Reporting. When I click on the Edit button, it will bring me back into my campaign canvas, and now you can see that both the icons are emerald green in color, meaning this campaign is published. It's ready to use that code or use that hosted form and start collecting leads. Now there's a couple more things I want to show you, and then we'll finish up. So there's one really important thing that I want you to remember. And what that one thing is your Simple One campaign is better and more important than your Complex None campaign. Now everybody tries to build what's on the right before testing out what's on the left. And it's super, super important to feel that confidence on the left before building out what's on the right. Because really what's on the right is a goal that leads to a sequence that leads to another goal, that leads to another sequence. And you'll learn more about that the more and more you work with Infusionsoft and the more campaigns that you install into your Infusionsoft application. You'll get to understand the rules that go along with a goal that leads to a sequence that leads to a goal that leads to a sequence. But it's really important to feel that confidence of what's on the left, and in no time, you'll be building out what's on the right. So remember, your Simple One campaign is better and more important than your complex I never got it done campaign. So thank you for your time. I hope that now when you go into the strategy guide, the campaigns will make a lot more sense and you'll understand the ingredients of a campaign and start getting your business automated sooner than later. Thanks for joining me, and thank you so much for being an Infusionsoft customer. Bye-bye.